Let's work. Yo, it's go time, showtime, never backing down time. One shot, yo, make it count, yo. Crunch time, shine time, make this moment my time. Get a grip, yo, ready, set, go. We bring the thunder. Bring the thunder. Let's work. Bring the thunder. Let's go. Bring the thunder. Let's work. Bring the thunder. Let's go. Yeah, it's my time, yo time. Step into the spotlight. Get lit, yo. Let yourself go. Our time, high time. Gotta go big time. This is it, yo. Never take no fight time. Grind time. Take it to the street time. Turn the roof off. Get loco. Game time, win time. We gon' bring it home time. No regrets now. Let it all go. We bring the thunder. Bring the thunder. Let's work. Bring the thunder.
Well, good evening and welcome to Mountain Bears. I'm Aeson, and of course with me tonight is my sleepy but cute Techie Joe. How are you, honeys?
Wore out.
It's Friday. Of course you're wore out.
How about you? How's your day been?
Oh, it has been insanity at max with an extra dose of caffeine. So someone brought me one of these, and they really do not understand how dangerous these are.
Well, I needed one, and it was mocha, so I thought you'd appreciate.
I loved it. I now know that we have a new budget line item to now add in.
Yeah. Yeah, especially for when Joe does 3-hour sleep days.
Yeah.
But hey, it was a lot better than it could have been. I wasn't up all night. But yeah, more fun with hosting.
Exactly.
It's always a trip. Yes. No, so I was in the middle of the night last night, and I was like, I have to do 3 more things, and then I can go to bed. And I maxed out server space.
Well,
and I was like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? And then I got to looking, and I went, no. I've had way too many sites on one server.
Right.
On one contract.
Right.
So, yeah. And I guess somewhere in my head, I thought I was going to move some of them later. And later never occurred until last night when it was like, oh, shit.
Yeah.
I don't have space for backups to run. I don't have, holy crap, I have to stop everything and do this right now.
Yeah.
So, yes, my apologies again to the 2 clients who never even noticed that their sites were down for an hour last night.
Right.
Which isn't bad. In terms of downtime, 1 hour is how long they've, I think, been down in total in the last year.
Right.
So, meh.
Yeah.
Well, it's a year and change at this point. So.
Right. After the last time I blew it up.
When did you blow it up? I don't remember you blowing it up.
Oh, I blew it up when we had to move me to my own server.
Oh, yes. Someone went WooCommerce boy and was like, let me install WooCommerce and everything WooCommerce has. And it was like, honey, what are you doing?
I'm building a business.
But even then, he didn't totally max it out.
No.
It was just right there at the borderline where it's like, honey, what did you do? What did you do?
Open the store.
Well, I opened a store and I did this and I did that.
This and I thought I'd try this and I like this plugin, but I don't like it, so I'm moving it to another one. And this is the one I'm going to be using.
And I have to audit him on plugins. Can I just tell y'all? Because he is a plugin whore.
No, I'm a plugin queen.
No, you're a plugin whore.
Look, I'm used to having Chase's server spaces where I can go and play in Sandbox for months. And if a plugin can do what I want it to do, then I will install a plugin and use it before I do anything else.
Yeah. Yeah.
Especially if it means I don't have to hard code shit.
Yeah, well, we'll set you up a server at some point
Right.
so you can go play.
Right.
But, like, no, it was funny then. It really was. It was just like, what? Because, like, all of a sudden, because I keep a periodic check on it. I don't,
Right.
like, go in there every single day and check my server space. Am I all right? Because I've never run that close to the line.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I've always had more than enough space. I just do check it periodically. And at that point, previously,
Mm-hmm.
I just was browsing through in one of my little periodic checks, and I was like, holy crap. Like, we added 100,000 files.
Mm-hmm.
And I went, what did you do?
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, yeah, we're going to have to move you.
Yes.
Like, you know, I'm sorry. You're trying to do, like, John and Kate plus 8 or 18 and counting and, like, a 2-bedroom with, like, a tiny kitchen.
Uh-huh.
And no, it's not going to work. Like, no ma'am, and moved you over. So
Right.
It was cool. But it's adventures in hosting. It really is. It's always interesting. Like, because we end up seeing this differently because we're supporting multiple clients on these contracts.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's interesting when it's like, oh, like most people would never see this.
Yeah.
But it is the hidden dirty part. Let me talk about that for just a second. It's the hidden dirty part of web hosting. Is you get unlimited storage space.
Uh-huh.
Big air quotes on that. Because that's what they sell it to you as.
Mm-hmm.
It's unlimited storage.
Right.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
See, they don't count your file size. They don't care about that. I could upload like 1 million years worth of television as one file.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we could do a continuous recording of NBC from the first tone on air to this very moment. They wouldn't say a word if it was one file.
Right.
Technically, they're not allowed to say anything. But you go in there and add 100,000 files. Yeah, there's a hard limit, and I think it's like 266. Like, it's an arbitrary number. I haven't figured it out yet. Because I know it's got to be a multiple of 8 somewhere that has significance, but I can't for the life of me catch it. But it's like 266,100, like, or anyway, it's this weird arbitrary number, and it's like, holy crap, when you hit it, it's like, that's a lot of files.
Right.
But then the average WordPress install is like 15,000.
Right.
Like, a moderately running page starts bumping up towards 20.
Right.
As in, like, you have a pretty full site going on there at 20.
Yeah, and then you get Queen Bee over here that's got 15,000 things in 30 different places and 43. Believe me, I drive people crazy.
Well, see, but here's the thing. You install WooCommerce and I mean, before you do anything else, you install WooCommerce, it's immediate, off the top, 20,000 files.
Mm-hmm.
So in that 200,000 allotment, because you want to leave some room, these things have to grow.
Yes.
I try to slice that at like 200,000, so that's a maximum of like 10 sites.
Right.
And on this one contract, I don't know how we did it, but we ended up adding a little more than that.
Right.
And it was like, oh crap, I gotta move shit. So I get to do that this week.
Yeah.
Popping sites up and down.
And just moving them around, and it's all fun. And, there's sites that can die.
Oh, no, I've already killed those.
Okay.
That's what we did with you, so I could get enough to make sure I had enough space to, like, back you off and pull you over.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, yeah, that site died.
Right.
Like, it was an idea. We started it. It was bad.
Right.
Or we started it, like, I surprised him with one site, and then it was just like the worst gift ever.
Why?
Well, it was like, I got all excited. I bought him a domain name. I set up a little site.
Right.
And, I put all this work in, and I showed it to him, and it was literally right as COVID hit.
Yeah.
Right as it hit, for an event that has not occurred since.
Which may occur. It's on the drawing board.
It's back on the drawing board, but it was like,
Yeah.
it was like this great surprise of nothing.
Well,
It was like, oh.
It's let's talk about that, because you made a comment earlier today. Now bring up the comment you made earlier today.
What did I make a comment about earlier today?
Facebook.
On Facebook. Oh, I think Brenda's already laughed at that. Hey, Brenda. I think we said hi to Brenda earlier, but I can't remember because my brain is dead.
Right.
Like, it is, guys. Y'all got to suffer through with me over here. So is that it's hard to buy your husband something for Christmas when he got everything when he married you?
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah. I sent my guests I went ahead and commented underneath for you.
Wish list.
My wish list, which I keep updated regularly for those wondering.
Uh-huh. And that's the publicly acceptable one.
Well,
may I point out there is a secondary wish list that is not publicly acceptable. I went and double checked to make sure he shared the right one.
Uh-huh.
Because I was like, oh, I trust him as far as I can throw him. Which isn't far. I've had 2 neck surgeries. Like,
again, I know what the hell I'm doing.
I know, but sometimes you need double checking. Like, you need a babysitter.
Well, I'm not the only one that needs a babysitter. Kanye West needs a babysitter.
Oh, we're moving right into articles. You didn't like that one. So, yeah. White Lives Matter t-shirts were handed out on Los Angeles Skid Row. One woman decided to give unhoused people an alternative option.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, quote, I'm not going to allow their desperation to lead to their harm because people want to dump stuff like that in our community, said Shirley Raines, known to TikTok as Beauty to the Streets. So a Los Angeles woman is handing out plain t-shirts to unhoused people to provide them with an alternative clothing option after boxes of excess t-shirts emblazoned with the phrase, quote, White Lives Matter, were recently dropped off on Skid Row. I'm not going to allow their... Well, we've already read that.
Right.
But her quote goes on to say it's not acceptable, it's not okay. Raines, who through her nonprofit work brings meals, clothing, and beauty services to unhoused people on Skid Row, said she was relaxing at home on her day off when one of her 4 million TikTok followers alerted her to a video posted online Sunday. The video was posted to Twitter by an account that appears to be associated with stylist Ian Connor, who is an associate of rapper Ye, formerly known as Kanye West. It shows boxes of the shirts being handed out on a busy street. A voice in the video is heard saying, courtesy of Kanye West, an Instagram account, Donda's Place, also shared an image of the shirt drop with the caption, hashtag WLM shirt activation today at Skid Row. Connor did not immediately respond to requests for comment. West, who legally changed his name to Ye, drew backlash after he wore a White Lives Matter shirt to his YZYSZN9 show earlier this month during Paris Fashion Week. The Anti-Defamation League describes White Lives Matter as a white supremacist phrase and categorizes it as a hate slogan. Oh, meanwhile, quote, the answer to why I wrote White Lives Matter on a shirt is because they do, Yee said during an interview with Fox News host Tucker Carlson. He said in a text conversation with his dad, they had spoken about the phrase, quote, I said, I thought the shirt was funny. It was a funny shirt. I thought the idea of me wearing it was funny. And I said, Dad, why did you think it was funny? And he said, just a black man stating the obvious. In an interview with Drink Champs podcast, Yee reportedly claimed that American Apparel founder Dov Sharney had manufactured the shirts, which Yee designed, but then refused to sell them after the rapper made anti-Semitic remarks on social media. Yee was later suspended from Twitter and Instagram. The interview is no longer available online, but clips of it have circulated across Twitter. Blah, 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 blah.
Right. And that's why, he went and bought Parler, because, the only way he can get through and sell his, and this is a marketing thing, sell his racist shirts is to go to where the racists live.
Okay. Well, yeah, which is Parler. Sorry.
Yeah.
I was having a moment with the Skid Row thing, and I'm like, typically, I'm kind of having a thing with the Skid Row, but anyway, we'll move on from that. Just because anyway.
Right.
But no, like I was sitting here going, well, typically no, but that's also like financially like a really bad bet to if you have to sell your product to people who are impoverished. Although it's done wonders for payday loans and predatory lending in general.
Right. Well, this is what he was doing to offset the money that, he thought people would think these shirts were hilarious, so he went and printed tens of thousands of them, and nobody wants your crappy clothes, like your failed normal line of clothing.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, granted, he has a better rap career than Jay-Z, because even back in the early 2000s, we were calling it Jay-Z and the talent.
Right.
So I'll give him that. At least he's had a small...
He should have stuck to what he was good at, which was rapping. Instead, he's now running in politics and buying bad investments that, will continue to be bad investments and failed fashion lines.
I almost think this is like a bad joke to him. Right. Like, I think this is... Like, weirdly, I keep thinking this has got to be, like, this is like an inside joke to him. Only he gets it. And it's just, and that's the problem, is that all of this is just so absurd.
Right.
It's like, which, I mean, okay, it, on some level, had it have worked out, would have been in many ways sort of funny. Just kind of those like, wait, what moments? It's funny.
Right.
That like, a person of color is making money off of selling shirts to racist people that's, say White Lives Matter. I kind of get the joke.
Right.
But at the same time, it's like, is that really the road you want to go down?
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing? Like, I know that we have this big attachment to companies have to like give back and be part of the community, and we've seen companies do this horribly.
Right.
This is almost like the about face of it is like, no, I'm going to make my money off of exploiting like the worst.
Right.
Like, I'm going to make my money off of exploiting the worst things I can exploit.
Right.
That's why I'm keep sitting here going, it's like some inside joke.
Right.
And it's like, but the problem is no one finds it funny.
Right.
Like it I don't think anyone's ever gonna find it funny. I don't think it's like actually funny, haha. It's more just funny, like at best, of that's weird.
Right.
Like I get it, but like no.
Right.
I mean, it's sort of like Harvey Weinstein selling Me Too shirts.
Right.
It would be like, what? Like, okay, that's kind of funny, but no.
Right.
Like, funny, weird, not funny, haha.
Right.
You know, or the Catholic Church making money off of, like, you know, altar boy shirts. Like, you know, whatever.
Right.
Like, okay, is it like it's funny, weird, not funny, haha.
Right. But Reigns, to Reigns, the people on Skid Row are like family. When she saw the video of White Lives Matter shirts being distributed there, her first thought was the potential threat they pose to those that might wear them. It's not about Black Lives Matter or White Lives Matter, Reigns said. It's about safety. The potential attacks are daily realities for those who live on these streets. Many are already vulnerable to being raped, stabbed at random, Reigns said, and wearing shirts with an inflatable statement as which, you know, life like White Lives Matter on their shirt, on their backs, is an easy invitation to harm. So she got in her car, drove to Skid Row to distribute the remaining stock of 200 plain black T-shirts she had in her warehouse. If you guys get them and want them, turn them in what? Blah, I'm messing this up. If you guys got them and want them to turn them into us, we'll replace them, she said in the video. So you guys have some options to what you wear, the choices of what you put on your body. One of the men wearing a blue sweater appeared to ask for clarification whether Reigns' shirts were whites only, because he nods and takes one. Those are not the white ones. These are plain black neutral shirts, she tells him. An option you have to stay warm. They are not the ones that were given out last night.
Yeah. And that's got to be an ugly moment to sit there and here's the thing. A lot of people think that when you make a donation, it doesn't matter. And I've heard a million times people utter the phrase, well, if you don't have anything else, then this will be good enough. And it's stained and it's ripped and it's torn and you don't want to wear it anymore. You won't wear it.
Right.
And you feel that instead of throwing it away, it should go to someone who's needy, who doesn't have anything else to wear.
Right.
But yet it's not good enough for you to still wear.
Right.
Like, I mean, when you seriously, it's not just like, I don't like it anymore. It's not really my size. It's not, you know, whatever. But I mean, it's ripped, it's torn, it's stained, it's dirty and won't come clean. It's whatever. But then somehow you don't like kick this down the road and go, so because it's always the same people who are like, why don't they get a job? And it's like,
how?
That dirty, ugly, nasty, ripped, torn, ratty fucking shirt that you donated is what they're putting on because they don't have another choice.
Right.
And that's what they're wearing to the interview. Would you hire them? Like, stop and ask yourself that question.
Yeah.
Before you donate something, is it trash? Or can someone else still get reasonable use out of it? Like, it may not be perfect.
Right.
But it's reasonable, and it's not like, hi, obvious flipping grease stain.
Right.
Right across the chest.
But no, let's talk about this for a moment, because we've hit this problem twice this week. And we have jobs. We own companies, and we hit these problems. Joe, you're frozen. There you are.
I think you were too, like both cameras recycled. So we hit this problem twice this week where we are both self-employed.
We are normally very responsible about refilling IDs. I mean, we both have passport. We can leave the country if we choose to. That type of thing. So I've had a bit of a sniffle. So I send him for cough syrup. I tell him I want knockoff brand because I don't buy the name brand because it's no damn difference. I want it to do X, Y, Z. Just go get me cough syrup. I'm out of my daytime cough syrup. I need daytime cough syrup.
No, you wanted nighttime cough syrup. That's what you were out of. You wanted to get knocked out.
Yeah, I wanted knockout sauce.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because that's usually what you do is typically when he gets sick, he will, in the first couple of days, do like a 12-hour knock it out sleep.
Right.
And that is well affected with cough syrup dosing because he'll take it, he'll sleep, for the 8 hours and then take it again. And usually somewhere around 12, he's sort of awake. He's not functional by any stretch. But it usually knocks most things out for him. So anyway, he sends me to go do that.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah. Someone had a birthday in July.
Yes, I did. Turned 40.
Very busy.
In West Virginia.
Someone's been very busy.
Yeah. Licenses were not renewed.
They are renewed now.
Yeah, but no, I went to go buy this cough syrup and I get up to the counter and, like, hi, I need to get this in a prescription refill. And they're like, okay, cool. And so, they ring up the prescription, they ring up the bottle, and it, of course, immediately prompts for ID.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I literally ran into the store with my phone that I don't know if you can see that. Like, I have a credit card slot in the back. It only holds one card. And like, I'm just running in to get my script.
Right.
Okay. And so, like, all I have with me is my phone and its little card.
Mm-hmm.
I'm in there for like 2 items.
Right.
And they're like, we have to see ID. And I'm like, crap, it's in the car. Okay, I'll be right back in. So I got to the car and I get my little ID out of my little wallet and I come back in and, do the apology because you have to, because it's polite. Sorry, and here's my ID. And she scans it and goes, it's expired.
Uh-huh.
And I'm like, oh, yeah. I know, I got to fix that. And like, she just stops. She's frozen.
Uh-huh.
And I suddenly get the dawning realization is like, well, you're going to have a valid one to buy it.
Right.
And I'm like, wait. Like, in my head, like, I already know the outcome of the situation. So I'm like, oh, for the love of God, just take it off.
Mm-hmm.
Because I know where this immediately went. And it's like, I'm not arguing today. I am not arguing. Not arguing. But I'm sitting here going, you literally are handing me a controlled substance, not like heavy duty narcotic, like I could get high off of it. Nothing I have could get you high. Nothing I have could get you really high. But like the prescription I'm going for, like, you're not getting high off this. But you're handing me a drug that is going through insurance. You have all of my information in your system, and you can't sell me a bottle of cough syrup without a valid current driver's license. Are you serious right now?
Mm-hmm.
Because, like, in my head, you're more concerned that me standing in front of you might be under the age of 18 and buying cough syrup, because I believe that is why there is a valid ID requirement.
Mm-hmm.
You're more concerned about me abusing cough syrup than the potential for insurance fraud.
Right.
Like, I have, like, rarely had any prescription where I've had to show ID for.
Right.
Like, that's a short list.
Right.
All the other ones, like, it can be a $400 prescription before insurance.
Right.
And they'll be like, here you go. Like, I don't care who the fuck you are. I don't care that you can get high off this. I don't care that you could blah, 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 blah.
Right.
But $5 cough syrup is where the line is.
Right.
Like, I understand there are kids out here that are like making, cough syrup chicken. And I get all that, and I think it's stupid, and I think they're making really bad life choices that they're going to pay for later horribly.
Mm-hmm.
Do I look like I am going to go home and pour this on my chicken? I'm going to throw it at my other half and hope he gets better soon.
Yes.
Or deliver gently. It's a coin toss, really.
One of the two.
But at one point. So, yeah, basically, I came home after this incursion.
Mm-hmm.
And I looked at him. And I said, well, apparently you have to buy your own damn cough syrup.
Right.
He's like, what the hell did I do? I said, my license expired.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, really? I'm like, yeah, I can't buy cough syrup.
I'm like you.
I have a valid West Virginia license.
And I threw the credit card at him and said, do it. Anyhow, the other instance was somebody had to take care of some other business. Of course, they've been married. They moved states. Never got around to change Social Security number, name on the Social Security card. It's a big fucking mess. Wrong for them. And I'm thinking, okay, if you are homeless, you do not have a mailing address, you do not have residency, you do not have a utility to prove residency, you do not have this, that, and another. How are they supposed to get a job?
Well, right. Well, there's that. Like, there's 100 problems that ID can present.
Exactly.
Like, one, if you don't have it, and then if you need to try to get it. Like, we've had that conversation when, like, Donna Donovan of Appalachian Pagan Ministries, APM, has been on the show, which, by the way, we flippin' love her.
Yes.
And she does amazing work. About the problems that, like, people have, because it's a very common thing that happens in prison populations.
Yeah.
Because effectively you go in with whatever's in your wallet and that gets put in storage and you hope nothing gets lost or misplaced.
Right.
Or you have to rely on another human being to safeguard those documents till you get out. Right. Okay, some people don't have those, period. Some people never got those. Some people, it's with their parents who deceased while they are in custody. Whatever the situation may be, there are a lot of things that can happen during an incarceration that can cause someone to lose their identification, like their birth certificate, social security card, and a state issued ID or driver's license, and or a passport. Like, these are your 4 big documents. But then we have a system that fundamentally is incredibly elitist. In the idea that to prove your identity, you have to have, and it's all codependent. You can't get a birth certificate without identifying yourself as a relative, at least, if it's not yourself. You have to identify yourself as a interested relative for a reason. You need a certified copy of that birth certificate. Like, your mama can do it, your daddy can do it. Sometimes, depending where, you can do that as a sibling. Depends upon the courthouse and the state. Because some will do it, some are like, who the fuck are you and why are you here? And no, you ain't getting a certified copy of that. So there's that.
Right.
Okay, to get a state-issued ID or driver's license at this point, you have to show a birth certificate.
Right.
And a social security card, and all your names must match.
Yes.
Like, I'm sorry, I have one great big advice for women. Stop fucking taking husbands' names. 9/11 occurred. Do not take your husband's name from now on. Just be done with it. If you were born Jane Smith, you die Jane Smith. You never change that name on your social security card, driver's license, or anything else. You can be introduced all over the world.
Right.
As Mrs. Who's a What's a Fucks It.
Right.
But you ain't changing it.
Yeah.
Keep it.
Right.
Keep the name you were born with. Even if you hate it, keep it.
Right.
Like, the only time you should change it is if you want to go through the legal name change process, and you're going to, again, keep it forever.
Right. Exactly.
Because this creates a name mismatch problem.
Right. All right, guys, we're going to take a commercial, and when we come back, we're going to be talking about some information from the CDC.
Oh, yeah. Real quickly, though, before we go. So Caitlin just said, this is the whole reason I'm never taking my husband's last name. The paperwork headache is not worth it. No,
even after the divorce.
Oh, it goes on forever. I've seen, I know we need to go, and I'll do that real quick. I've been at the DMV behind this poor woman who had been to the DMV like 10 flipping times.
Mm-hmm.
She'd been married and divorced a few times. She was probably in her 60s.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, she was doing this when it was like, who the fuck cares what your name is?
Right.
You know, you're who's a what's a fuck's a who's it till you marry who's a what's a fuck's a him's it. And, you know, like, it just changes all over the place. And whether you updated your driver's license and your social security card, no one really cares.
Mm-hmm.
And she's standing at the damn DMV with like 5 different, you know, marriage licenses, 5 different divorce decrees, 5 different copies of this, that, and the other, trying to get them to please just let her get her driver's license.
Right.
And she was at the point of, like, because we were standing in line for a little bit. It was one of those weird days. And we were standing in line. She's telling the story. And I'm just sitting there like, oh, my God. Because she's at the point of, like, I might get arrested today if they do not give me my license this time. She said, I've had to hire a lawyer.
Mm-hmm.
I've had to go in and out of courthouses.
Mm-hmm.
I've had to travel to other states
mm-hmm.
to get all of this
mm-hmm.
to make them happy.
Right. And see, my other advice about this, and people might not like it, if your child is 16 ages or above, and you guys celebrate when they get their driver's license, get them a passport. Because of the Patriot Act, that is the ultimate in ID.
It is. It is.
All right, guys. Let's go to break, and when we come back, we're going to be talking about some news from the CDC that is scary.
Absolutely.
Hi, I'm Dottie the Psychic, and I'm sure you're wondering why I'm not wearing any makeup. Well, one reason is to irritate my social media manager, Aeson Knight. Hi, Aeson. The other reason is because I like to get to the naked truth about what it means to be a neurodivergent LGBT person with psychic abilities. I've got vlogs, blogs, and podcasts and videos all related to trying to live my best life and helping witches and bitches do the same thing. So, you can check all that out and get a reading from Dottie the Psychic at DOTTIEthepsychic.com. Safe travel and much profit to you.
Do you have a cute pet? We know you do. Each week, Tracy Van chooses from submitted photos a featured reader for her Facebook page and provides a tarot reading. Your adorable pet cat, dog, rabbit, goat, chicken, snake, or more could be her next featured reader. Visit TracyVan.com, TracyVann.com, and click Featured Reader to submit. We look forward to seeing your pet next.
Hey everybody, Lady Gwendolyn here, and I am here to tell you how to get in contact with me and a little bit about what I do. I am the High Priestess that works with shadow work to help you grow and heal. And I work with access bars, Reiki, I do power forms. I'm recently getting into crystal healing, sound therapy as well. So you can go to Lady Gwendolyn Healing, that is LadyGwendolynHealing.com. Book your appointment with me. I do in person, I do over the phone, I do over Zoom. We can do that as well. My main goal is to help you grow and heal, because I've been there, I'm still going through it, and I let my strength help guide you. See you soon.
Hey everybody, Natalie here from The Pendulum's Path. If you are in need of guidance, direction, spiritual connection, healing, or more, you have come to the right place. I have worked as a psychic and a medium for over 3 years, connecting people from all over the world with their loved ones, giving them insight and guidance into their current situations, their past healings, their blockages, and what they need to know in order for them to have a better future. It would be my absolute honor if you would come to my website at www.thependulumspath.com. Visit my shop. I have a whole bunch of crystals, oils, balms, mystery boxes, and more. And visit my services. I offer 15-minute, 30-minute, and 60-minute sessions. I also have email readings available if you're not comfortable with the one-on-one session with me, or if you just want to try me out. I encourage you to come visit me at the Pendulum's Path, and let's get you back on the right track today.
And we're back.
Welcome back. Okay, so I sent you the right article. I'm sorry, I sent the base study that I was reading.
There we go. So, the CDC, 1 in 4 LGBTQ teens attempted suicide in first half of 2021.
Mm-hmm.
So, 1 in 4 teenagers who identified as LGBTQ plus said they attempted suicide during the first half of 2021, according to new data released by the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. The CDC's findings also revealed that almost half, 46.8% of teenagers who said they are lesbian, gay, or bisexual, seriously considered a suicide attempt during the same time frame. These results came to light from the CDC's first national survey of high school students, a project funded by the Federal CARES Act to assess the mental health of American youth during the COVID-19 pandemic. Health experts at the CDC said they hope publishing these survey results will create more awareness about the serious mental health concerns of young people and highlighting the need for more support to address those in schools and in public policy. They suggested in the report that one strategy could include fostering connectedness at school and with others. In a news release, Dr. Deborah Horry, the CDC acting principal deputy director, said these data echo a cry for help. The COVID-19 pandemic has created traumatic stressors that have the potential to further erode students' mental well-being. Our research shows that surrounding youth with proper support can reverse these trends and help our youth now and in the future.
Really? And so what does a Republican Congress do?
Oh, well, let's go on right over there to that one.
Yeah.
So Republicans introduced cruel measure to pass Don't Say Gay law across all of U.S. Republicans have introduced a measure that would aim to widen the scope of Florida's much criticized Don't Say Gay law to cover the entire United States. Louisiana Republican Mike Johnson introduced a measure on Tuesday, 18th of October, which would ban the use of federal money from being used to teach children under 10 about the LGBTQ plus community, The Guardian reported. The bill is being likened to Florida's Don't Say Gay ruling, which restricts the discussion of sexual orientation and gender identity in classrooms in the state. The U.S.-wide bill introduced by Johnson and 32 other Republican members of Congress would ban public money from being used to teach children about sexually oriented material and any topic involving gender identity, gender dysphoria, transgenderism, sexual orientation, or related subjects, end quote. The bill is likely to become law while Democrats currently control both the House is unlikely to become law while Democrats currently control both the House of Representatives and the Senate. However, the midterm elections on 8th of November could affect the makeup of the U.S. government in less than 1 month. Johnson said in a statement, quote, "The Democratic Party and their cultural allies are on a misguided crusade to immerse young children in sexual imagery and radical gender ideology." Quote, "This common sense bill is straightforward. No federal tax dollars should go to any federal, state, or local government agencies or private organizations that intentionally expose children under 10 years of age to sexually explicit material."
Yeah, bullshit.
Oh, yeah. Like, here's the thing. Somehow, there's a complete inability to differentiate sexually explicit and sexually relevant and sexually themed and sexual, like age appropriate sexuality. Like there's like a crowbar from hell of separation between those two topics. Like, because here's the thing. No one is sitting there like giving a pardon the pun, blow by blow of pornographic content to a 10-year-old, a 9-year-old, an 8-year-old, a 7-year-old, a 6-year-old, a 5-year-old, etc.
Right.
No one's doing that. Those people, if they are harming children. We all agree on that. We're good with that. That is sexually explicit, and one should not do that.
Right.
However, talking about gender, talking about relationships that people have, like Kevin has 2 mommies, and the fact that they are in a relationship is no more sexually explicit than, you know, here's Kyle's mom and dad. That there's no difference there.
Right.
The child would have to have some other exposure to explicit sexuality in order to understand that Kevin's 2 mommies do sexual things, which would probably also include understanding that Kyle's mom and dad did some sexual things to create Kyle.
Right.
But that it's never the point. We have labeled this dirty. That gay people exist is dirty. That bisexual people exist is dirty. That trans people exist is dirty.
The polyamorous people exist is dirty.
So we've taken that. We have taken things that are related tangentially to someone's sexual identity or sexual orientation, and sexual identity. And we have turned that into things that are sexually explicit.
Right.
I'm sorry, what? How does that work?
Yeah.
Like, y'all are all upset about this whole, you know, like unisex bathroom concept or transgender people using a bathroom of their gender thing. You're horrified by this,
right?
And now you want to follow that up by effectively creating a group of kids that until age 10 will not even be able to use the appropriate words for their genitals. And we're all just going to have to guess around at what a hoo-ha and a ha-ha is. Because that's what you've reduced this to.
Well, not only that, but you can't even say my dad's. Or my dad's and his boyfriend are coming to parent-teacher conference.
But my mom and dad is fine.
Yeah.
But my mom and dad is fine, because that's not sexually explicit. But my dad's is immediately a Greek orgy he shall not speak of.
Exactly.
And my mom's is a flippin' nightmare that you don't even want to even imagine, because, like, how could two women function?
Well, let's move over, because this study
that's
came
straight
out,
up
and
it.
this is what our Congress people did here in the United States.
Mhm.
Now, the CDC is a governmental service
Mhm.
by the United States.
Mhm. Who just said,
okay, the news comes out. So, we're a developed country and all this. So the news comes out, and immediately, within the same day, conservative MP Kathleen Noakes has said schools should have gender-neutral toilets to stop the trans and non-binary youth from being incorrectly gendered. What? Other pond, other country, looking at the data.
Yeah.
Same day, same freaking day. Our Republican Congress doesn't even want the word gay mentioned. Conservatives in Britain introduced a bill in their to fix the bathroom problem that West Virginia Senate could not solve in 3 years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Like, no, it's insane. Like, I do not get how, like, we sit here this far on, and because the data does not match the moral, and it's not even a moral argument, to be honest, it's a religious argument. It is a personal belief argument, which is very different from a moral argument. Because, like, a moral argument is like, don't treat people like shit. That's a moral argument. So you're not acting out of morality.
Right.
Like, or any belief therein. Like, if your morality involves we should, like, encourage people to commit suicide, that's not a moral argument.
Right.
Like, because that's what you're fundamentally doing in this situation. Like, the CDC just published this study that this is what you're gonna do if you don't quit failing to support LGBTQ plus kids.
Right. But in a speech at the Women's Coalition, MP Carolyn Noakes had said schools should have gender-neutral toilets to stop the trans and non-binary children incorrectly gendered. She goes on, as a conservative, to say, went on to call on the government to introduce gender-neutral toilets in schools, making life easier for trans and non-binary youth. I think that there are some real challenges around our schools. I want every person to be able to have access to education where they feel supported, where they will not be incorrectly gendered, where they will not be forced to use the incorrect toilet. She added, I hate the fact that we keep coming down to talking about toilets at every opportunity, but it is absolutely right that there should be inclusive gender-neutral loos in our schools, and that's something that I am personally will be standing up for enormously. Elsewhere, Norton said that the real fear that trans people's rights aren't being respected in the healthcare system. What? How is this country that we fought a war against to get them out of here is moving along progressively in growing up and protecting their children and looking at studies being released by our government and going, hold the fuck the plane. 1 in 4, we ain't having this shit. Let's get this moving.
Like, the statistics should scare the shit out of anyone.
Yeah.
Like, hello, hi, this is bad.
Yeah, so remember this come November, which is fastly approaching.
Like, I don't get what the struggle is. I don't get it. I've never gotten it. I've never seen the problem. But I will say that when you grow up steeped in this garbage, like you get stuck in it.
Mm-hmm.
And I found that out in college.
Mm-hmm.
When I tried to defend the stupidest thing possible,
Mm-hmm.
in the stupidest way possible, so UNCG Pride,
Mm-hmm.
would do went to an annual event, and it required a hotel room, 2 of them, because usually we sent about 8 people,
Mm-hmm.
and we were having the biggest fight over budgets that year because we had ticked off some people's. And so there was this immediate, like, well, why can't you just have one?
Mm-hmm.
And it was like, well, because it's usually, 4 women, or, 4 young women and 4 young men going on this trip. And it just flew out of my mouth that, well, we can't do that. We can't put the, 1, it's 8 people. You can't put them in one room. But 2, like, what are we supposed to do? Like, reduce it to 4 and then, force 4 women or, 2 women and 2 men to share a room. And like, I was outraged. And then I had to check myself going, actually the way we do it is more likely to result in a sexual adventure than the way that just got suggested. But it was so ingrained in my head that it was inappropriate, and you just couldn't do that because they couldn't be trusted. And I'm just sitting here like, where the hell did that come from? And it's like, I got steeped in this shit. No, you can't leave, young women and men alone together. They'll have a baby. Like, that's what that happens. And I was like, who am I parroting? Like, I had to stop and actually figure it out. And, or try to. And I was just like, no, this is a lifetime of crap I've been told since I was like a little kid. That, like, you can't leave 2 people of opposite genders together alone. It's inappropriate. And it's like, oh my God. Yeah, I'm just going to go check myself right now. But anyhow. But you grow up steeped in it, and this stuff carries forward. I don't think people even realize they're doing it until it's like, challenge it. Challenge it.
Mm-hmm.
What's going to happen?
All right.
So, anyhow. That's where I think a lot of that is.
I think that it needs to be challenged. I think that the point that this country is coming to is very unsure and very uncomfortable. We're going to cover our last story, which I'm kind of like, finally someone's going to jail for some bullshit.
I know, right?
Right.
So Steve Bannon sentenced to 4 months in prison for contempt of Congress. Former Trump advisor Steve Bannon appeared in a federal court in Washington, D.C. on Friday and was sentenced for contempt of Congress after defying a subpoena from the White House, from the House committee investigating the January 6th Capitol attack. So here's what you need to know and what happens next. So he was found guilty on 2 counts. Federal jury found Bannon guilty in July of contempt for refusing to appear for the panel's deposition and produce documents. The conviction was a victory for the House committee, and as it aimed to seek cooperation of reluctant witnesses in its historic investigation. The sentence, Judge Carl Nichols, Trump appointee, sentenced Bannon to 4 months on each count, running concurrently, along with a fine of $6,500. The sentence is less than what federal prosecutors sought. The Justice Department wanted Bannon to be sentenced to 6 months and be fined $200,000. He won't have to serve his sentence yet. After Bannon was sentenced, the federal judge said the ex-Trump aide wouldn't have to serve his sentence until the appeal of his conviction plays out, which is what Bannon had requested. He did decline Bannon's request that he receive only probation for the offense. What both sides said in court, federal prosecutors argued that Bannon should be dealt a $200,000 fine above the $1,000 to $100,000 guideline and the statutory maximum of the 2 counts of contempt he is facing. They point to Bannon's refusal to provide the probation office with details about his finances as the reason for the particularly harsh fine. Department of Justice Attorney J.P. Cooney argued that it amplifies his contempt for the law. Prosecutors also said the citizens have put themselves in harm's way all the time to comply with subpoenas, but Bannon suffered no such threats and thumbed his nose at Congress. Meanwhile, Bannon's attorney, David Schoen, pushed back on the idea that a lack of remorse from Bannon should warrant a harsher punishment. He claimed Bannon was upholding American values and the institutions of government, including the White House. Schoen also argued that Bannon was not acting above the law, but was acting consistently with the law because of his concerns about executive privilege. What happens next? Bannon has 14 days to file his appeal, the judge said. If he doesn't file that appeal, then Bannon will have to make arrangements to surrender voluntarily no later than November 15th. Bannon's attorneys have already made clear they plan to appeal his conviction to the U.S. Court of Appeals for the D.C. Circuit. How Bannon reacted? Bannon just decided not to speak in court, but the former Trump advisor briefly addressed reporters outside after the hearing, saying voters would cast their own verdict on Democrats and the Justice Department in the midterm elections in November. Quote, "Today was my judgment day by the judge," Bannon said. On November 8th, there's going to be judgment on the illegitimate Biden regime and, quite frankly, Nancy Pelosi and the entire House of January 6th committee. Trump's subpoena. Shortly after Bannon's sentencing unfolded today, former President Donald Trump also faced a showdown with the panel. The January 6th committee announced on Friday that the panel had officially subpoenaed Trump to try to compel him to sit for a deposition under oath and to provide documents.
This will be interesting.
I like that article, though. That was a nice summary of a lot of things.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
very much so.
Go CNN Politics. That was awesome.
Yes, very good. All right. So, Are You an Asshole will be as soon as we take our commercial break.
Awesome.
All right.
Welcome back, Goblins! My name is Jason, and I am the host of the Esoteric Book Club, a podcast that examines titles on the magical, paranormal, the mysterious, and the strange. I release 2 episodes a month, in which I review books on esoteric topics, recap news of the weird, and conduct interviews with authors, practitioners, and experiencers. The Esoteric Book Club can be found on every major podcast service, or can be streamed directly from esotericbookclub.org.
Hi, I'm Tracy Van. I provide a blended reading consisting of mediumship, psychic, and tarot cards. A reading from me can cover any guidance you need from relationships with your partner or your family, spiritual, financial, any questions you may need clarity on. If you would like to book an appointment with me, check out my website, tracyvann.com. That's TracyVann.com. I have bookings from 15 to 60 minutes you may choose from. That helps if you just have a quick question, need an answer, or if you're looking for a reading in more depth, I'm here to provide the guidance and clarity for you. Let's just figure it out. Bye.
Hi, Techie Joe here. I work with Aeson and some of the best psychics in West Virginia to create amazing live streams and podcasts for the Psychic Coffee Shop Network. Together, we brew up great content discussing news, events, hot topics, and more, all from a psychic perspective. On the Psychic Coffee Shop, we interview amazing authors in the metaphysical realm. Coffee and Tea combines Aeson with Tracy, Dottie, Natalie, or Lady Gwendolyn for the good and the bad of being a psychic. Shameless Self-Promotion with Dottie the Psychic talks to leading and emerging YouTubers and business owners in our community. Mountain Bears brings you the latest in LGBT news and politics. The Psychic That Plans answers the question of, well, how a psychic plans. Plus, we're live on air. We take your comments and your questions, including psychic advice questions. Check out our amazing programming, book an appointment with top psychics, and find out all the wonderful things we have to offer at PCSBnetwork.com today.
Hi, I'm Aeson. I provide tarot readings covering everything from love and relationships to your life questions and your most spiritual answers. And also, I provide a lot of guidance in finances and divorces and all those relationship problems. So, if you'd like to get a reading from me privately, not on air, you can feel free to do so by visiting aesonnight.com and booking your appointment. I also provide on-demand services, so if your life is a little chaotic, you can go ahead and click that call now button there on my site. Great for a quick answer question. All right, guys, back to the show. Enjoy.
All right.
All right, so are you an asshole?
I don't know, maybe, but I am going to take a moment before I read that and just point out, since we have been talking about November 8th a lot, I would like to remind y'all in West Virginia, if you're voting on November 8th, there are 4 ballot amendments, and you need to review those carefully. They are pretty bad.
Yeah.
But you make your choices, you vote how you vote. I would urge you to vote no on all 4.
Yeah.
All right, so
and also, I'm going to bring this up.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of school levies, including the one for Fayette County, Raleigh County, is on the ballot. Vote no with them too, because the school boards aren't really using them for what they're supposed to.
Oh, really?
Really. I was watching the city council meeting. Norman claimed that the school levy was being to provide free meals for everyone in Fayette County. No, the CARE money did that. So what did you spend our money on?
What?
Yeah. I was like, what level of misinformation are we at here?
All right. Well, always consider your school levies carefully. We don't want to underfund our schools. We also don't want to do giant, massive cash grabs at taxpayer expense for nothing.
Yeah,
that helps
like Monty Valley. I'm sure they have a school levy, but yet they don't want pride flags, and they don't care to lose 1 out of every 4 students.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so am I the asshole for changing my mind about splitting the cost of our group vacation equally? Myself, 32, and my husband, 35, are friends with 2 other couples, and we have been taking group vacations for a few years now. We are all teachers except for my husband, who is a welder. We don't take every single vacation together or anything like that, but for 1 week every summer, we go somewhere as a group. We obviously skipped 2020 and 2021. It's a great way for us to reconnect and decompress. I've always left my kids with my parents, and the other couples have arranged their own childcare. We got together this last weekend to decide what we were doing for next summer. We decided that we were going to Sanibel Island in Florida. It's cheaper and less crowded in the summer, believe it or not, and all of us can deal with the heat. But one of the couples wants to bring their child, age 12. She loves seashells and has heard all about this place. Okay. Not ideal, but we decide it would be fine. Here's the problem. We always split the cost of the rental evenly. It's fair, 3 couples, each of us pays 1/3. So we found a rental that has 1 room that has 2 queen beds, so that we still only need 3 rooms. Not acceptable. On their vacation, they want alone time. Okay, we find a rental with 4 bedrooms. But it is more expensive. So they will have to pay more since they get 2 bedrooms. Cue shocked Pikachu face. But we always split the rental 3 ways. Well, yeah, because 3 isn't 4 in terms of bedrooms. Before anyone says anything, we did not tell them they had to pay half since they got 2 bedrooms. That isn't what we said. We just expected them to pay the difference between a 3-bedroom and a 4-bedroom rental. Now they are upset with us for burdening them financially because they want to give their daughter an experience. My husband and I don't think we should subsidize them. The third couple thinks we should split the bill this one time and to keep the peace. Am I the asshole?
No.
I don't know. Like, I would have to know, like, how bad
Mm-hmm.
is the difference? Like, so it's a 1 week rental.
Mm-hmm.
I'm assuming in Florida, that's what, like $2,500 for a 4-bedroom, or like $2,250 for a 3-bedroom, so like $250. Divide that 3 ways versus, adding on the $250. Like, I'm just trying to like guesstimate, like, how big of a difference are we talking about? If we were talking like $20-$30, it would be like, shut up, just split it and be done with it.
Well, let me check this out, but I want to give it to you a
Right.
different way.
Okay.
Chew on it just a minute.
Okay.
Technically, we are 2 couples.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so we and another couple, it's a single couple,
Mm-hmm.
decide.
Like, they are one couple.
Yeah, they are
Mhm.
one couple. Decide to go on vacation. Is it fair that we split the fee equally?
I go back to her bedroom argument. Is like,
Mhm.
how many bedrooms are we doing?
Right.
Because if we're doing, like, she was talking about like a 2-bedroom, one has 2 queen beds,
Mm-hmm.
and we're okay with that.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a 2-bedroom rental, then I
Mm-hmm.
think it's an even split. Now, if it is, the 3 of us, and there are 3, so to speak, the 3 couples, 3-bedroom situation, then I think we're paying for 2 out of 3 bedrooms.
Yeah.
Like, and I think it would be more than reasonable to just expect us to pay the difference between a 2-bedroom and a 3-bedroom.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's kindness.
Right.
Because I can easily make the argument that, like, she rebutted that no, we're not asking them to pay half the rental.
Right.
We're just asking them to pay the difference
Right.
between a 3 and a 4.
Right, which looks to be about $200 a night.
Okay, $200 a night for 7 days is $1,400.
Right.
So I kind of understand where they're at, but what's that in terms of the total cost?
Well, again, I'm comparing
Yeah, I know.
to
I'm just looking.
Airbnbs. And literally, it's like a 3-bedroom, 4-bed situation is like $224. Whereas
Per
you go
night.
per night. Whereas if you
Okay.
go up a level to the 4-bedroom, 4-bed situation, it goes to $630 a night.
Ew.
Yeah.
Okay, I think I'm starting to see where they're like 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. Because that would effectively be, so you're talking 600 and what a night?
$660 a night.
So 660 times 7. Like, you just jump from like that 7-day stay in a 3-bedroom with 2 queens in 1 room at $1,568 to 4 discrete bedrooms. Is because that's $4,620 for the 4 bedrooms for 7 days, and then you minus the $1,568.
Right.
Like, that's, you're asking them to pay more than half. That's going to be a difference,
right,
of $3,052 off the top, and then you're dividing the $1,568 by 3.
Right.
So let me do that real quick. Divide by 3. So you're adding another $522.66 to that. So they're going to end up spending $3,574.66.
Right.
instead of $522. That's where I'm sitting here going, yeah, you didn't ask him to pay half. You like asked him to pay the majority of the expenditure. But then again, their request is what caused it.
Yes.
Now, if we were talking about like 1568 versus say $1,800,
Right.
I mean,
Right.
$300 versus the $100 you're going to pay extra.
Exactly.
Like, do you really want to fuck around with your friendship over $100?
Right.
Like, do you really want to get like that nickel dimey about your
Right.
friendship and the fact that they want to bring their daughter? That's
Right.
like $300. But when you're jumping from 1568 to like $4,000,
Right.
I think that's the point where you go, I don't know what to tell you.
Mm-hmm.
Like, one, maybe this isn't the vacation for your daughter.
Exactly.
Starter. Like, you can find a way to do another beach vacation.
Right.
That includes your daughter, and you can come back to the same place.
Exactly. Go at a time with your daughter.
Yeah, and it'll be way cheaper, like, for that amount.
Right.
But no,
that's
like,
literally but in my head, when I read this question, I'm like, okay. So if me and my couples wants to go with another couple on a vacation, would it be fair to that other couple to split it by heads?
I think in most situations,
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it would be enough of a difference.
Right.
To like, do you really want to sit here and split this hair about, well, you have to pay 3/5 versus,
Right.
1/2.
Right. And I didn't, that was my thing. It's like, just count them by heads. Everyone pays so much by head. Like, there are two of us, there are three of us, so I will pay,
3/5.
3/5 of it. But then I got to look at the difference. And I'll tell you both. Y'all two can get over it. There's 2 beds in that room. We're taking that room. Put up a quilt.
Like,
You've got that much.
Well, yeah, I think I would too, especially if someone explained that, like, we're talking about a $3,000 price differential.
Right.
Like, and again, that's where I have to draw a line and go, it's a $3,000 price differential. That's a big deal.
Right. But that's,
if we're talking 300, it's like, I don't think anyone argues that. It's just whatever you want to do. No one cares. Split it in half, split it by 3/5. It's going to be so close. Like, do you really want to lose your friends over, like, $50, $100? Like, is it worth it? Is it worth it?
Right.
To argue it and be a dick about it?
Right.
Versus,
for the same
like,
vacation for the same area.
Mm-hmm.
It's literally $183 a night for 4 beds in 2 bedrooms versus 4 bedrooms with 4 beds.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's because of that spacing that the pricing is so different.
Well, Well, that specifically, but if we were talking about like a 3-bedroom, one has 2 beds, and then a 4-bedroom, 1 bed each.
Right.
Yeah. If it's a $3,000 difference there, then I'm like, nah, I'm not absorbing that.
Right.
That's a massive difference in vacation.
Right.
Like, you're talking about like them being upset because you're financially burdening them to give their daughter the experience. But if we do it your way, like we normally do, that's a pretty significant financial burden when you think you're taking a $522 vacation lodging expense on, versus you're taking on, $1,500. Like, you could just go get that house at 1568, 3 bedrooms, and be done with it for the same cost. You could all do that. You could all go rent a 3-bedroom house, Or better yet, you could go get a 2-bedroom house and you would save money over the 1/3 of the $4,000.
Right.
And just find 3 together and, 6 and 1 half a dozen the other.
Exactly. But anyway, I think that you are not the asshole for breaking it down.
No. I think maybe this is a situation where either I don't know that you explained it well enough, or they just really don't get it, like how splitting things works.
Right.
And they, as friends, I'll tolerate some you get the tip, I'll get the, hors d'oeuvre, and we'll call it even.
Right.
It's a price differential of a few bucks over the course of a friendship. I don't give a crap.
Right.
You're talking about a down payment on a car? Yeah. See, no.
Right.
That's a lot to ask out of your friendship.
Right. Exactly.
Especially for 5 teachers and a welder. That's a good chunk of change. It's not like any one of them is a multimillionaire and it's like they could all, find it in their couch cushions.
Right. All right, on to our polyamorous relationship advice.
All right, should I meet my metamor for the first time one-on-one or with our partner present? I, 48, have been with my boyfriend, Alan, 27, for 2 years now, and we've been through a lot together during that time. We've gotten each other through some difficult times with much love and understanding, and we have become very attached to each other. I know I mean a lot to him. He means a lot to me. We've become closer and closer over time, spending most of our time together. He loves me and doesn't want to lose me, but I'm his first relationship, so I know he is just starting out and will need to explore other connections and relationships. I just imagined that it would be in the context of our primary relationship. Ooh, I hate that word. Recently, Alan has felt that he needs to have more relationship dating experience with guys closer to his own age. In June, he started a relationship with a friends with benefit of his who I'd known for about a year, but Alan never told the guy, Evan, about our relationship until very recently. In the past, Evan had expressed his preference for monogamy and told Alan that if they became serious, he would want monogamy. This has made me very anxious because although we have had an open relationship, it was usually a case where we played with guys we both liked together. I'm not interested in Evan at all, but now that everything is out in the open, he says he is okay with our relationship for now. I don't like the sound of that for now part, and this is from the post, not me editorializing. So obviously I'm very anxious about the situation. Now we are at a point where it seems like we ought to meet at least once to take the mystery and hopefully some of the anxiety out of our minds about each other. I've been as supportive as I can be, reading a lot about how to go about setting up a meeting between metamors, but I'm still not sure what's the best way for us. If it were someone I was attracted to, as I always hoped our poly relationship would be like, it would be exciting to me. But I feel threatened that Evan has been going hard for Alan, even bringing up moving in together already. I'm hoping that once he sees how important I am to Alan, he will be understanding and stop trying to get Alan all to himself. I kind of doubt we would be great friends as he seems really basic and uninteresting, but maybe that will change once we meet. I want to feel safe and confident in our poly relationship, whether or not we become friends. Alan says he doesn't even know how he feels about Evan yet, and their relationship could progress or just fizzle out. So there's a lot of uncertainty that makes me anxious. To those who have been in this situation, is it better for metamors to meet one-on-one, or should we have Alan there as an intermediary? I feel like it would be easier to meet one-on-one so we can focus on getting to know each other without having to see each other interact with Alan. On the other hand, I feel like Alan should be included so he's in the loop and can help clear up any questions or misunderstandings during our meetup. Any advice? What should we talk about or ask each other? What should I definitely not do or say? Please help.
I don't know. I think it should happen naturally. I think that you don't need to meet one-on-one. What's your thoughts?
Can we start with I'm already not comfortable with her poly?
Yeah.
And then I think that they think they're poly.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think they're really there yet. I think they're monogamous but open.
Mm-hmm.
Because that whole primary thing just like, ooh, I hate that word. It starts a hierarchy and my brain goes, don't do that. No one survives hierarchical polyamory.
Right.
I mean, like at least one person always gets hurt in that because it sets one relationship over any others. And that never works. I've never seen it work. It is a bad thing to do. It basically says, I'm poly and I love a lot of people, but I love you just a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
You're a little more important. You're a little more. Right. And that doesn't work.
Right.
Like, you cannot love people equally and then go, but I love you a little more.
Right.
It's like, no. See, no.
Right.
I go into one, like, Alan doesn't even know how he feels about Evan, so you're basically rushing to meet him and you don't even know if this is going anywhere.
Right.
That right now what you have as open is working for them.
Mm-hmm.
I assume because we don't really have Evan's side of this to know where he's at.
Right.
So I think you're trying to resolve anxiety that you're fundamentally going to turn around and create by meeting. It's going to be like a meet the parents moment.
Right.
And you might as well be pumping a shotgun when you do it.
True. The other part is, as a meta, how do you like meeting your metas?
I would prefer with the intermediary approach.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, just so there's otherwise, I feel like it's going to turn into this weird, like, dynasty kind of competitive moment where it's like, who loves him more?
Right.
Who's more important to him? Which is his primary relationship? Who is he doing what with and how? And it's, like, oh my God, please don't do that.
Right.
Things I've not seen go well for poly is when you start competing or start competition between metas.
Right. And the other thing, and I'm going to say this, I like my metas to go do their own shit.
Fair enough. Like, I'm okay with that later on. I don't think that's how you meet.
Yeah.
Because that's just like a really crappy first date.
Right. Not first date, but I'm saying after, my metas have gotten used to each other.
Yeah.
Come on. I don't need to be at every meeting. Got you go have coffee. Go get a movie together. Leave me alone. Go shop for my birthday together.
Well, I don't think you have to. I think there's a very careful note not to force it. Like, if that's just not where two people are.
Right.
Like, I mean, I can't say that I haven't. Like, it's weird, but I've been in the situation where, like, I've been the, like, for instance, where, like, I've been the ex and I've met the new boyfriend.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, I like the new boyfriend.
Right.
We get along.
Right.
I understand why you're dating them. Like, you were on a path and, like, you got to me first. And it was like, Then again, most of my exes and I don't have horrible breakup stories. It's just like, you're not the one.
Right.
And we moved on and we remained friends.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, and then I meet the new, and I'm like, oh, okay, that was the dude. Like, I was close, but that's the dude. Like, they're a little more what you need. I wasn't. But, like, we get along, and we're friends, and we're friendly, and it works. and that's just in a like an ex, like not a meta situation.
Right.
But then I've had the opposite happen where I've met the new, and I'm like, what fucking bargain basement discount bin did you drag this mofo out of?
Right.
What are you doing?
Right.
And it's like they hope we can all be friends, and I'm like, no, I'm not friends with this piece of crap. Like, you better wise the fuck up.
Right.
Like, no, I don't know what you were thinking.
Right.
Like, you go return that. I hope you kept the damn receipt and you take it back to its mama for it to finish.
Right.
Because this ain't even a done human.
Right.
Like, what is wrong with you?
Right.
I've had that happen.
Right.
Some people it's like, oh, I get it now. And then for other people it's like, ooh, like, you've been struggling.
Right.
Like, as a friend, I give you some advice. You need to move on.
Right.
And like, I would never be friends with this person. There's no way I could be friends with this person because I just can't.
Right.
Like, it's just that different. I would hate to think of being in a situation where we, one, were thrown together to meet each other the first time. And then, like, if it works out that we can be friends, it would be like, well, okay, that was cool, and it was no big deal, and, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
If it works out the other way, which is what this sounds like this is going to be, oh my God, how much would that suck? It would be like a blind date where you're like, I already know I don't like this person, and now we have to have dinner.
Well, and see, here's the next thing for me that annoys me. And I would be cutting this person off yesterday.
Okay.
The for now part.
Yeah. Because, see, that's the other part is like, because we have like OP and Alan who are doing this weird open monogamy.
Right.
Like, it's not really quite, it's not polyamory exactly. It's not really an open relationship exactly. But then we introduce Alan, who doesn't even want to be in a poly situation, who doesn't really sound like he's entertaining a poly situation, but is just biding his time.
See, that's what I call cowboying, and out the door they go. Out the door they go.
Yeah, that's a moment of like, that's not really how that works either.
Exactly.
Like, no, like, even if they were poly, but they were like, no, I want you all to myself, and I don't want to deal with this, you know, with your other half, your other third. Yeah, that's a big red flag for this ever working out well, because again, you've put your you know, hi, Alan, if you're watching this for any reason, or if you identify with Alan in this situation, your metas are already in competition from the word go. Do not let them meet right now till you work the shit out.
Right.
Do not do it. Do not encourage it. Do not try to make it happen. Try to discourage it until you can get a handle on what you're doing with Evan.
Right.
And OP, you need to go read some more books. We highly recommend More Than Two and the Ethical Slut. No, not More Than Two. Ethical Slut. There's another one though.
More Love, Less Conflict.
More Love, Less Conflict, and sorry, I always get those two backwards.
Yeah,
in my
we
head.
do not recommend More Than Two. That is what blew us up.
More Than Two is the hierarchical bullshit.
Yes.
And like, I'm not saying there's no one out there that's made a hierarchical work. I'm just going, you want to see some ugly fireworks? Let me tell you what it looks like when it doesn't work, and it's called some horrible fucking fireworks.
Well, actually, you can actually watch this play out.
Okay.
Right now on TLC, you are seeing hierarchy
blow
the fuck up on Sister Wives.
Oh, Sister Wives just went boom.
Yes.
Yes. I forgot about that. I did, because you were talking about that, the other night with...
No. I was talking the other night at dinner.
Oh, you were talking the other night at dinner. Anyway. But no, so yeah, that's going boom right now. If you're a fan of that show, or if you've been watching it, waiting for the inevitable dynasty bitch slap, it has occurred. It has occurred. It is the bitch slap heard around the world. Is where they are at right now. It is dissolving. Pop your popcorn. It's going to be a show with lots of fireworks. This is the problem that we have been talking about for ages.
Yes.
When we talk about hierarchical polyamory or hierarchical non-monogamy, being problematic, is that when you do this thing of I love more than one person, but I love this person extra much.
Or when you do these are the rules for your engagement in life. I.e. Cody's Insanity 100 Commandments.
Well, see, and I think the biggest problem one typically runs into in hierarchical non-monogamy or hierarchical polyamory, I really struggle to call it hierarchical polyamory because it just kind of is a contradiction in terms, so we'll just call it hierarchical non-monogamy for the rest of the show. For the few minutes that is, really, it's not that it is that you love one person more than the rest, and that is usually yourself, because it is usually one person who elevates themselves as chief of the tribe, and the person you really love more is yourself. And you try to make it about this one relationship you've got going on. But that's never really where it was, because that one relationship is your security blanket, and your pacifier, your extra special toy, your invisible friend, your what the fuck, who's it? Whatever makes you feel like if it all blows up tomorrow, that's the one that's going to stay there and tell you that it wasn't your fault.
Exactly.
That's not really a good situation for anyone. Like, there's vulnerability that is needed for polyamory to work. That's why I really like hierarchical non-monogamy as the descriptor, because it's what it is. And your higher power is usually yourself. Moving right along.
So, guys, there's a situation, and I want you guys to be aware of it so you don't get confused. We will have our normal Psychic Good plans on Sunday. And Monday, of course, is shameless self-promotions. Then Tuesday, we're having 2 psychic coffee shops.
And I haven't even figured out, because we haven't gotten a chance to talk. So are we doing 8 o'clock and our normal, like, 45 minutes to an hour for the guest? Then I come on, then you do the next guest, and then we end the show.
That's what we're looking at, or it may turn out, and it depends on how it lays out. It'll be 30 minutes to 45 minutes for the guests, and then we will probably take Are You the Asshole? Then we will do the new show with the new guest and the relationship advice. That's how I'm planning it in my head. Okay? So you're going to get a double shot of the Psychic Coffee Shop.
That's a lot of author.
Yeah, but they're great authors. Otherwise, I would have canceled one.
Oh, how? Burn.
Sorry, if the author was entertaining to me, I'm not going to stress myself out there. I'm a selfish bitch. We know this. All right, guys, we hope you enjoyed Mountain Bears tonight. We'd love to hear your comments. The replay clue down in the bottom. And with that, good night, y'all.
And of course, we want to Vanna it up with thanking Beverly Walker, Mika G, Kathy, Mary Winfield, Brenda Bryan, Ashley Gish, Shannon C, Shannon D, Lady Gwendolyn, Charles Shaw, Dottie the Psychic, Tracy Van, Donna White, and the Laughing Tree Grove. If you'd like to learn more about us, the show, or how you too can become a Patreon sponsor and receive all the wonderful benefits that our baristas receive, please visit us at pcspnetwork.com. There we go. Now we can exit out. Good night, y'all.
Good night, y'all.